Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. I'm down here working on getting the basement emptied out. This workshop's going to be closed. I'm not going to be using it anymore. And one of the things that I needed to do is make more storage room for some of the stuff that we got in the tile room, that we want to turn the tile room into a useful room. Right now it's just packed full of stuff. Kind of like the workshop. What I thought I would do, I use this set of shelves to put tools and equipment and paint thinner and things like that on. And I wanted to be able to store the Christmas items on racks. Right now I've got them sitting in tubs, and you stack the tubs one on top of the other. That makes it so if you want to get to the bottom tub, you got to move all the other tubs. If I set them on this rack here, I can take off the top one or I can take off the bottom one. I don't have to worry about which one I'm going to be getting because I don't have to move anything else. I'm just going to take out the one that I want. We've already got the bins labeled so that we can tell what's in the bin, but it got really difficult trying to get the bottom one out all the time because sure as the world, the next thing that I needed was the one that was on top, and it was in the bottom of the next stack. So I want to make it so that I'm using these racks rather than that antiquated method of just stacking bins. So to have that happen, I'm going to use these cardboard boxes and empty out the shelf and store the stuff in these boxes. Now these are paint thinner and Dykem and all kinds of liquid items that I use. This is a tube of black silicone, which I think is set up. No, it's still sealed. So black silicone 2, 100% silicone window door attic trim flashing. Not going to use this on the log splitter because I got RTV for that. But this is going to go in the bin, and we're going to set it. Probably going to stack it inside of boxes. The thing that I'm trying to avoid, but what I want to do is make it so that I can actually get these shelves organized and get the bins organized because we're starting to take down Christmas. And as everybody who's ever had a house and a family, Christmas going up and down is a major project. You spend an awful lot of time trying to figure out which one goes where, especially if you have a designer in the house. Designers have a tendency to come up with really clever uses of materials and items that involve moving things around a bunch. Mac Tools pneumatic oil. And this, I believe, is a floodlight. Yep. That's going to go in a different box. This is boiled linseed oil. And this is mineral spirits. This is some leatherworking colors. Esquire Instant Coloring Cleaner Conditioner. Now this is a filter funnel for filling Coleman lanterns. That was something I picked up at an antique shop, just sitting on the shelf. They didn't really care too much about it because they didn't have it priced very high. So I brought it home. ultrasonic general purpose cleaning powder. Not something I use a lot, but I do have it. It came with the ultrasonic cleaner. Some of this stuff I'm probably just going to run through the flammable disposal system. It's a bottle of buck lure. I got this when I was 25. Because my wife was very proud of me and wanted me to have all the fun times that I enjoyed. So she knew I liked hunting. So she got me buck lure. After I got married, I never went deer hunting again. I did go pheasant hunting with a friend, but I never went deer hunting. So that bottle of buck lure has been sitting on the shelf for nearly 50 years. They say 3 moves equals 1 house fire. Well, I'm coming close to it. I'm moving a workshop. Not quite the same, but it's very close. This little device is a tape holder that I bought from Hensley's Hardware, or Hensley's. This little device is a tape holder that I bought from Hensley's 5 and Dime. It was a store that was there in Union City before I moved there. It was there the whole 20 years that we lived in town. Well, that we lived in the area. But eventually, the owner died, and the daughter took over running the store. And then a dollar store moved in across the road, and that was pretty much the death knell. There was no way they could keep up with the price discounting that a dollar store could put against them. I was rather unhappy about that. Lydia worked at Hensley's for a while. Sharon Boley, who was the daughter of the man who ran the store the whole time that I was in town, up until he died, had worked at the store a large part of her life. And we were all sad to see it close. But I made an effort to buy things from the store when they were closing, so I'd have things to remember the store by. And that is one of them. And it's a real handy thing to have because it lets you pull off the amount of tape that you need, even from a roll of this sticky painter's tape, because it weighs about 5 pounds. It doesn't slide across the table as you're trying to pull the tape off. Very handy thing to have. A lot of this work that I'm doing is just tedious because it's making sure that I have things put where I can find them. When I started moving out to the workshop, I made a mistake. I thought, well, this won't take long, so I just kind of took things out, put it on the shelf, thinking that I'd be organizing it soon. Life happens, and about the time you think you got things organized, something comes up and you got to do something else. My mom, after she retired, started going to the senior center over in Coldwater, and one of the things that they had was stained glass. They made stained glass, and she loved it. She made a great many stained glass things, a lot of window hangers. She wasn't making big stained glass windows. She was making small things, but she greatly enjoyed it. And she bought that thing, which is a glass grinder. Has a diamond wheel on it, and it's got a water pump So you can cut the glass close to the size you want and then polish it down, grind it down to fit exactly inside the caming. When she passed, I brought that home. Now, give you a little background on that. My mom and I were very close. And one of the things that she did for me, as I was recovering from heart surgery, she said, you need to have something to keep you occupied. So she came over to the house and brought her glass making, stained glass equipment. And we started cutting out some stained glass pieces to make a window hanger. Well, I recovered and went back to work quicker than most people thought I should. But I felt fine, and the longer you're away from a job where you're the manager, the worse it gets going back. So I went back, too soon probably, but I survived, the company survived. I think everybody came out okay from it. But I never did finish that stained glass piece. It's in Mom's toolbox, and that's one of the things that I want to work on. This is something David Chadwick got me onto. It's Meguiar's Mirror Glaze Swirl Remover 2.0. David was a coach builder. He worked on buses over in England. You know, the big double-decker things. He was a very interesting man. He passed a few years ago, and I was very sad to lose him as a friend. Well, I don't think I lost him as a friend. I think he's still my friend. He's just no longer here. The chair over closer so that I'll have the box closer. I won't have to spend so much time threading the needle. That would save a lot of steps. This is red coat fuel tank liner. I bought this thinking I was going to put it into the 8 ends tank because it was constantly rusting. And that was back before I discovered the real reason for steel tanks rusting out in the early 90s. Alcohol in the fuel was the thing that was killing them. So now I have a can of red coat, and if I have a steel tank that has a pinhole in it, I'll be able to seal it. This is half of the 50-50. I mixed it up and kept it in here. Acetone and automatic transmission fluid. Half acetone, half automatic transmission fluid. It's a 50-50 mix that Scout Crafter got me onto. Works great. It's a wonderful penetrating oil. This is a van brace. It's a cosplay item. My son and I went down to the cosplay, what do they call that? Comic-Con down in Indianapolis. And one of the things that we did when we were down there was we joined a seminar and made these. It's a lot of fun. If you get a chance to go, I would recommend it. But take along somebody who could understand and help you figure out what's going on. Ryan had been going to the Comic-Con for quite a while, so he knew what was happening and where and when to go to places. I don't think I would have enjoyed it anywhere near as much as if I didn't go with him. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I've got a good big portion of this rack emptied. So I'm going to go get a couple of tubs and start moving some things over to this so I can open up some room in the other room. So I put some of this stuff out in the other room and bring the Christmas items in here. But before I do that, I want to get this up against this wall. I don't want to have it sitting sideways like that. I want to have it up against the wall. because the bins are deeper than the shelf, I'm going to leave it out a little bit from the wall so that I can set it through and have them balanced out over the shelf. Might as well move these guys out of the way so I'm not trying to step over or around them. I don't want to trip. Isn't this fun? Learning new things and finding old things that you forgot you had. Yeah, it's pretty fun. This is Zinsser shellac. Scout Crafter turned me on to that stuff. It's great when you've polished up a tool and you don't want it to rust. You put some shellac on it, and as long as you don't use it, it's going to stay nice and shiny forever. But most of the time I use them, so I'll put the shellac on and it'll last until I use it a couple of times. So, makes things work better. Writing on the outside. So I'll know what's inside and not have to open it all the time. There we go. That's going to work quite well. Makes me wish I'd have thought of doing this 15 years ago when we started. Because I bought racks. I bought these racks for this side, and there's racks going down the back there, and we had a couple of racks on the other side too. They made it so that I could have the shop down here somewhat organized. It never was exactly what I wanted, but it was organized after a fashion. And now, I think it's going to be even better. Well, uh-oh. This one's just a little too big. this is odorless paint thinner. Great stuff to have. I learned about it because we were doing something called magnetic crack detection. We were using a magnetic crack detection device, and I've forgotten the name of it. It's been so many years ago. But the people who ran the piece of equipment complained because it had a strong odor of mineral spirits. And they said they didn't like it, and it made them sick. Well, mineral spirits is one of those things that's got a real strong scent to it. Well, since I was maintenance manager at the building, I was given the task of finding some way to make that not be a problem. So I did some research and found that the scent in mineral spirits is added. Mineral spirits doesn't have an odor. Matter of fact, it looks like water, tastes like water. You don't know you're drinking mineral spirits if you pick up a glass with pure mineral spirits in it. You might drink it not thinking that it's mineral spirits, and you could die. Bad stuff. Really wrecks your kidneys and goes through your body like a dose of salts and just tears you up. So, the chemical companies that were selling mineral spirits put an odor in it so that you could tell it was mineral spirits. You wouldn't accidentally pick it up and drink it. Well, we signed a waiver and bought some unscented mineral spirits to put in that crack checker. Worked great. Everybody loved it. The company closed about a year after that, so I never heard any complaints about it. Everybody liked it there. I don't know what happened to it after I left. I left, and then they closed up about a year after I left. Writing was on the wall. They were going to move me to third shift, and I was going to be production manager and maintenance manager. And I was going to get the same amount of pay. So I found another place to work and left. But odorless mineral spirits is nice for when you're working in a basement in a house, because you don't smell it upstairs. There's no odor to it. You just have to be careful not to leave it someplace where people get confused as to what it is. So, in my case, the odorless mineral spirit stayed in ragu jars because it got mixed with boiled linseed oil. And nobody wanted to drink boiled linseed oil. If you tasted it, it was pretty nasty. About the time you have some on your finger and you somehow get it a little bit on your tongue, I don't know how that would happen, But if you do that, it tastes pretty rotten. But let's see, where are we going after this? I got the rack full. I still got some glass jars down at the bottom. I don't want to move those. I don't have any place to put them that's safe and secure. But one of them's kind of interesting. I'll show it to you. When I was 16, I traded a guy for a motorcycle. He had a Harley 45, and I had a go-kart. Make a long story short, I couldn't have the go-kart anymore. And so I traded it to him for the motorcycle. Why my parents let me have a motorcycle when they said I couldn't have a go-kart anymore, I'm not really sure. But I was a persuasive young man. Any case, put the motorcycle together, did a lot of riding. Now, I didn't have a driver's license till I was 17. It's part of the go-kart story. So, when I got my driver's license, Buddy and I would go for rides. The Harley 45 it felt like a full-size Harley. It didn't have the horsepower that the larger 74s had. 45 was a 45 cubic inch engine instead of the 74 cubic inch engine that the flathead or the panhead that I had later had. But we went riding a lot. He sat on the back because he couldn't drive, and so we went around the countryside. On one of our trips, we went down to Angola, which was just over the Indiana border. It was about 20 miles south of where we lived, Coldwater. We drove down there. We used to like to go to different places and see new things. We'd stop and have lunch or ice cream or something. And we stopped at this gas station down by the intersection of I-69 and 8090 toll road going through the top part of Indiana, which went real close to Angola. And it was an old gas station. It was on the 27, US 27, which went down through, and I-69 took the place of US 27 as the main travel north and south in Michigan. For a long time, going through the center of the state, you went up 27. Especially coming up from Angola, because 27 went through Angola and then on the other end went through Coldwater and went on up and ended up going on up past 94, clear on up to Lansing. So, in any case, we stopped at this gas station, and it was such an old gas station that they had 55-gallon drums of oil in the garage. And if you needed oil for your car, they would take a pump and pump it into a jar. A jar just like this one. Sometimes it was a quart jar. This is I believe it's a 2-quart mason jar. Let's see, does it have a size on it anywhere? Nope, don't see one. I bought this at an antique store, and I think they got it out of somebody's barn. But they would pump oil into the quart jar, or in this case, 2-quart jar, and they would take it out and pour it into your vehicle. So I was introduced to the idea of a 2-quart oil jar. Okay, I think that's the end of the day for today. I've got the shelf emptied out and a bunch of stuff moved onto it. There's enough bins that'll fit on there that I can use it. I'm hoping that the other bins will fit on the racks, the other racks that we've got over there on the other side of the floor. Far into the workshop is what I call the storeroom, and it's a bunch of racks. So, I think that's enough for one night. If you have any suggestions for new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I'd read them all. Thanks for watching. And it's nice coming down here and working in the old shop again. I don't do much down here. Right now I'm just cleaning it up, getting it ready to leave. And this is going to be the storeroom for the whole house. We'll have racks on all the walls and hopefully be able to put things in here that will let us have the tile floor room across the way. Maybe we'll put a pool table in. Who knows?
This video is not to be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 in the U.S. or 16 in the European Union without the express written permission of the parents or the legal guardians of the underage person. Such written permission must be on file at the local government entity in charge of enforcing the rules and regulations established by the FTC. Anyone violating these terms is admitting by default that they hold harmless the owners and operators of this channel. Any and all questions should be addressed to your local branch of the FTC.